Welcome back to Northwest News. In this week's edition, we'll look at Northwest hot topics, Northwest Disc Golf Club, and more. You're watching Northwest News.
Thanks for tuning in to Northwest News, the show where we provide the latest coverage on the Northwest Missouri State University campus and in the Maryville community. I'm Wiley Ray.
And I'm Skylar Stamps. Before we get into this week's episode, be sure to hit that notification bell for all the latest news coverage as well as other KNWT content.
This past week, Northwest students had the opportunity to attend Hot Topics, which is an honest, open, and transparent discussion among students and faculty members. Reporter Evan Jacobson has more on the event.
Holding this event where you're able to speak openly and freely about current events is important to Northwest students.
I think it's important to have hot topics because HOT stands for honest, open, and transparent. And these conversations are like a catalyst to building up a community and just speaking about general things. It brings us together and we speak about the general things that go on media, social media, whatever, and it's kind of a nice kick.
I think it provides a safe environment for a lot of the students to get their opinions about stuff that's not necessarily educational off their chest, but it's interesting to see everybody's different opinions on it.
Students enjoy the Hot Topic space because they feel comfortable making new connections and voicing their own opinions without judgment.
So 1 hour of forgetting about academics and just talking about something that could be relevant or is relevant in the current day situation, state, and time. With people that you already know, meeting some new people and connections and people's opinions and voicing your opinion is just a great space to participate in.
I get to see other people's perspectives on a topic that maybe I know a lot about, but I didn't look at it from that way. So seeing a different perspective really helps in having a well-rounded idea of whatever topic we're talking about. And again, it doesn't have to be educational, so it's almost a getaway from school while still learning.
Having other perspectives and intriguing conversation is what keeps these students coming back.
It was probably just learning about the different kinds of misconceptions and myths that are out there and what truly is fact, because that's kind of hard to decipher when you listen to social media because everyone has something to say.
Having Officer West come in and giving us that perspective from the law side, especially since we're talking about a court case, and even though it is in the media and a lot of us know about it, he went through the training, he knows kind of what the legal side of it looks like, and having his perspective on that side of it, I think that was the highlight because it gave us, again, another perspective that we wouldn't normally think of.
For the stories that matter to you, I'm Evan Jacobson, reporting for Northwest News.
If you are interested in attending one of the Hot Topics discussions, the next one will be held Thursday, October 10th from 5 to 6 p.m. in the ODI space.
Also this past week, Mosaic Medical Center in Maryville and a couple other local organizations partnered up to host a suicide awareness event featuring guest speaker Drew Robinson. When we return, we will get more information about Robinson's story and the importance of mental health. You're watching Northwest News.
Kirsten, what are you doing here?
What do you think I'm doing here? Making TikToks? And it's not about what I do. It's about what we do here. So we start with storyboarding the content we want to create for our clients. It could be anyone from small businesses, nonprofits, and organizations both on campus and in the Maryville community. We write, we film, we edit, we create, and then we wait. So if you're someone who thinks you need us, we are KNWT Creative Services.
KZLX is a student-run radio station where Northwest students have complete freedom during their shifts. KZLX also hosts mini radio shows such as Nermageddon, Revive, Day-to-Day Picks, and more. To learn more, visit kzlxfm.com.
thank you for sticking with us and welcome back to Northwest News. Last week, guest speaker, former Texas Rangers Drew Robinson visited Northwest to speak to students and staff about his story and the importance of mental health. Reporter Kendall Crawford has more.
Mosaic Medical Center, in partnership with the university, Northwest Missouri Cooperative Mental Health Board, the Family Guidance Center, and Northwest Health Services, hosted a suicide awareness event this past Wednesday in the Lampkin Activity Center that was free to all Northwest students, staff, and Maryville community members. The event featured keynote speaker Drew Robinson. Robinson was drafted out of high school in the 4th round of the 2010 MLB draft by the Texas Rangers. I was able to catch up with Dr. Tyler Taps to hear his thoughts on why suicide awareness is such an important topic amongst students and athletes across the country, and what services Northwest offers and how students can access these services.
My name is Tyler Taps. I am the Assistant Vice President for Health and Wellbeing and run the Wellness Center here at Northwest. I think it's very important because of the stigma related to mental health. This event tonight was really special in that we're always talking about how we can alleviate the stigma around mental health, and the best way to do that is to have vulnerable people who have experienced things such as Drew to come and talk about their experiences, because there's a lot of people who struggle with their own mental health and are afraid to have conversations because of some of the things such as stigma that are related to things like suicidality, depression, anxiety, and other mental health factors. Call the Wellness Center office and you can schedule an appointment with a counselor, an initial visit. From there, based on the expertise of the counselor, you might be recommended to see a certain counselor based on whatever your needs are. Also, we have every day somebody on triage. So if at any moment during the day, 8 to 5, you're in class or something's happening where you feel like you're in a really bad place, you're in what we would call maybe a crisis, you can walk in at any time and see somebody that day because they are on call as a triage, and from there it will be the conversation between the counselor and there are other resources after that moment. But anytime a student can come in if you feel like you're in crisis.
I was able to speak with Megan Jennings on what she thought about the turnout of the event.
So we were really pleased to see all the student athletes here, the coaches, the GAs, but also several from the community and college in general here as well. And it speaks to the volumes that the coaches, the director of athletics, Andy Peterson, says is telling these students over and over that mental health is important, and their mental health is just as important as their physical health, and that they're not going to achieve their goals in athletics unless their whole body, their whole person is right. And just hearing their coaches and athletic trainers and things like that talking about it and speaking about its importance, I think speaks volumes to the athletes ensuring that they will receive the help that they need.
For the stories that matter to you, I'm Kendall Crawford reporting for Northwest News.
If you or anyone you know is struggling, Northwest is here for you. The university provides in-person counseling at the Wellness Center as well as crisis counseling support by dialing the number 988.
There are many ways to stay involved on campus, such as joining clubs and rec leagues. A club that is fairly new on campus is disc golf. Reporter Wiley Ray takes us there.
I'm Wiley Ray reporting for Northwest News, and I spent the afternoon with the Bearcat Disc Golf Club, and it was nothing short of a hole-in-one.
My name's John Reinhardt. I'm the president of the Northwest Missouri State Disc Golf Club. So the club by itself is just a free to join, free to play, just come out whenever you can kind of club. I want to do what I can to kind of grow the game. It's something I love. I want other people to love it. And then building off of the club, we have a competitive team, the Bearcat Disc Golf team, and we take me and 3 other members and we travel around the country and go to tournaments whenever we can. A club meeting for us is Mondays around 4 o'clock. It gives the newer people a chance to kind of get out of class, but they're not quite ready to start homework yet, so it gives them an opportunity to just come out and do something. For now, we're just trying to get them introduced to it because a lot of them just haven't played. So it's teaching them how to throw and putt and how to play and just giving them a bulk introduction. As part of the club, it's just learning how to throw. a lot of stuff is natural and learning how to do it, and then there's a lot of intricacies whenever you're actually getting serious into it. Whenever you're on the team and we come out for team practices, we play a lot more rounds. We do a lot more dedicated putting practice, backhand, forehand, distance, short game, more dedicated practices to be able to fine-tune the skills that we're trying to develop.
I'm vice president of the Bearcat disc golf team, and so this is a new role for me this year. My job primarily is recruitment. It's my job to get people out here showing up and just enjoying throwing. I feel like a lot of us were always talking about disc golf. We're getting our friends into it, really just anyone that we see out and about. A lot of times if we just see someone out here playing, we'll go out of our way during our round to see if they're interested and just kind of spread the word. We've done a couple org fairs too and stuff like that as well. Our A team, they traveled to a couple different places. They went to Illinois last year for a tournament. I think they had one in Kansas, and then they went all the way to South Carolina for nationals, which was really cool. We had a tournament in Columbia too at Mizzou as well. That one was cool because we were able to bring a B team as well, so we had 8 guys go, which was a lot of fun. Honestly, just have fun with it. It's really hard to beat yourself up or get really stuck in the mental game aspect of it, but I always tell people I throw plastic for sport. It's really not that serious or that deep, and so it's fun to just get outside, get some exercise, enjoy being out, and improve your game.
For more information about the Bearcat Disc Golf Club, you can find them on Instagram at Bearcat Disc Golf, or you can catch them on courses around Maryville. For the stories that matter to you, I'm Wiley Ray, reporting for Northwest News. If you are interested in joining disc golf, be sure to contact John via email or add and message the team's Instagram at Bearcat Disc Golf.
Up next, we'll check out some highlights from last week's edition of the Missourian, provided by Assistant News Editor Anna Bailey and news reporter Rhea Salermo.
Northwest Tower Yearbook has dedicated over a century to documenting life on campus and in the Maryville community. The award-winning organization has numerous Pacemaker Awards and a spot in the Associated Collegiate Press Hall of Fame. Learn more about Tower at the handles below.
Welcome back, fans, to the best show on KNWT Channel 8, Bearcat Update. I'm your new host, Max Moore, and I don't say that we're the best show because I'm the new host. We have the hardware to prove it.
For decades, Bearcat Update has aimed to be more than just a sports show, but a way to serve and inform the community. Though the technology has changed, we've maintained our persistence to that goal. In Season 75, Bearcat Update is better than ever as we go live every Sunday at 1 p.m.
Welcome back to Northwest News, the place where you can find news and whereabouts on what's happening in the Northwest and Maryville community. Thanks for sticking with us.
This week's stories from the Missourian include a Northwest alum releasing his second album and a local FFA chapter that donated meals to those in need.
Northwest alumni Andy Peak said yes one time in 8th grade, and since then he has been performing and more recently producing music. His second original album, Pocket Change, is set to be released September 20th.
Throughout his career, Peak has worked in multiple bands, stood on stages of many sizes, and released one original album. He said his lifelong career began after a conversation he was a part of was overheard one day in church.
Northwest alum Andy Peak stated, "I was in the 8th grade and standing in the aisle at church in Maryville at First Christian Church where my father Tom was pastor. I was talking to a friend of mine at the church telling him that I owned a snare drum. The person standing next to me just happened to be the band director at Maryville High School, and he tapped me on the shoulder and said, 'You own a snare drum?' To where I replied, 'Yes, I do.'"
Peak went to Northwest for 2 years. While in college, he studied to become a music teacher. Eventually, Peak decided he did not want to dedicate his life to being a teacher and left Northwest to become an independent musician.
Now on to another story from the Missourian. Future Farmers of America donated 193,000 meals to those in need at the Missouri State Fair for FFA Food Insecurity Day on August 13th.
For 8 years, Drive to Feed Kids, a program under Missouri Farmers Care, has been donating meals to those in need since 2017. Drive to Feed Kids is a collaborative partnership between nonprofit organizations and agricultural businesses that work together to help food insecurity in the state. Drive to Feed Kids' main goal is to combat childhood food insecurity by donating food raised over the year to the 6 regional food banks owned by Feeding Missouri.
Northwest Technical School FFA chapter member Jerica Hess is a freshman at Northwest studying agricultural business. She said being a part of FFA in high school was rewarding and helped her understand the value of community.
While she didn't participate in the Missouri State Fair meal packing event due to her participation in other FFA events, she did say that she has heard of the event.
FFA member Jerica Hess stated, "I know that they felt like they had a lot of good feedback and just felt like they were people being able to support others. It's a really great program, and I think it really helps a lot of different people in the community. Especially during the summer, there's a lot of kids that might struggle when they go home."
For more on these stories, check out nwmissourinews.com online or pick up a paper out of the boxes on campus. Before we go, take a look at some current events happening, such as 2 5-year-old giant pandas being gifted from Beijing to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong welcomed 2 new giant pandas last Thursday, gifted by the Chinese government to mark 75 years of Communist Party rule. The 5-year-old pair are now in their new home at Ocean Park, an animal theme park.
An is a male panda and Kiki is female. They come from a conservation and research center in Chengdu.
The 2 bring the total numbers of pandas in the city to 6, joining Lili and Ying Ying, who were gifted to Hong Kong in 2007.
Fans hoping to catch a glimpse of them will have to wait at least a month, as they will spend the next 30 days in quarantine in the southern Chinese story.
Well, that's all the time we have for Northwest News. Be sure to go to the description below to rewatch certain sections of our show.
And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and updates. This has been Northwest News. Thanks for watching.